This beautiful area, where the waters of the Great Lakes begin their journey to the Atlantic Ocean, was formed almost 12,000 years ago, at the end of the last ice age. For centuries, this place was inhabited by the tribes of the Iroquois Federation. These lands and waters were extremely bountiful, and the Indians came to believe that their great spiritual chieftain Manitou was born here, and they named it Manitona, the Garden of the Great Spirit. The importance of the area was not lost on the early European explorers, as they found that it provided a passage through to the heart of North America. During the 1600s, the French explorer Samuel du Champlain explored this area and opened it up to the colorful coureurs de bois, who used this route to carry their furs from the west to Montreal. In 1687, Jean de Bay, a French cartographer, named the area the Thousand Islands. Today, this area is part of the longest undefended border in the world. In 1793, a boundary agreement between the USA and Canada decided that no island would be split in two, and that the border should be 100 yards from shore, and that if this was not possible, the line would run down the middle of the two shores. This explains why the boundary follows a zigzag line. 2/3 of the island are in Canadian territory, but the total acreage of the Canadian and U.S. islands is roughly equal. The beauty of this area began to draw visitors as far back as the 17th and 18th centuries. It became a prime vacation area for the well-to-do from New York, Boston, Montreal, and Toronto. It was not long until large, luxurious summer homes began to spring up. The influx of visitors who wanted to see the islands grew. There was an evident need for boats to carry passengers. The first tour boat operator in Gananoque was a local mailman who took on passengers as a sideline to his mail deliveries. Soon the sideline outgrew the mail route, and he started what is now the Gananoque Boat Line. Today, thousands of visitors enjoy the daily cruises through the islands. Passengers now travel in luxuriously appointed tour boats. The tours weave among the islands, touching on many points of interest. Always of interest are the palatial summer homes of the rich and famous, almost all of which were built around the turn of the last century. Names such as Pullman, the inventor of Pullman railway cars, John Jacob Astor, a financier of New York City, and Helena Rubinstein of cosmetic fame, were all known in the area at that time. The most famous is the Bolt Castle, which was built by George C. Bolt, who was then the proprietor of the world-famous Waldorf Astoria. The castle is a replica of a Rhineland castle. It has over 120 rooms and was built at the turn of the last century at a cost of over $2.5 million. The castle was to be a gift to his wife. However, tragedy struck in January 1904 when Mrs. Bolt died. Work stopped immediately, and the castle was left to deteriorate until a few years ago when it was brought back to its original condition as a tourist site. The island itself was formed into a heart shape by George Bolt as a further sign of his affection. The area is important as a staging area for migrating waterfowl, as the islands act as stepping stones for the birds, saving them from a flight across the wide expanse of Lake Ontario. The islands are a favorite fishing destination. Bass, pickerel, and perch are the most common catches, but muskellunge and on rare occasions even sturgeon have been landed. The very obvious landmark during a cruise of the islands is the Thousand Island Bridge from Collins Landing near the Alexandra Bay in New York State to Ivy Lee near Gananoque. The bridge provides a link between the U.S. Interstate 81 and Ontario's Highway 401. The suspension bridge is 800 feet long. 2 further bridges complete the connection to the U.S. The official groundbreaking for the bridge took place on April 30th, 1937, and the bridge was twinned in 1959. A large part of the river freezes solidly in the winter, but downstream near the 1,000 Island Bridge, the river flow is much swifter, and this part of the river stays open all winter. The waters that pass through here will flow 1,300 miles east to the Atlantic Ocean. For many years, the Thousand Islands was the playground of the wealthy. This golden age came to an end as the result of 2 world wars, the introduction of income tax, the Great Depression, and more important, the invention of the automobile. Today, people can visit the area within an easy one-day drive from large urban centers in eastern U.S. and Canada. The Thousand Islands are no longer the vacation destination of a favored few, but are now visited and enjoyed by many thousands of tourists from all parts of the world.